Hi, I'm Danna from Level 39, the most connected tech community of over 200 startups, scale-ups and corporate innovation labs. Ambition Explored is a series by Level 39 where we get insights from the people powering some of the most ambitious companies in the world. Today I'm joined by App Annie, who created the mobile app data industry back in 2010 and have since become the most trusted mobile analytics and data platform. Now they have over 1 million registered users across the globe, spanning all industries, relying on App Annie to revolutionize their mobile business. I'm speaking to Natalie Aiken, who is App Annie's European Investor Sales Director and has been with the company since 2016. Hi Natalie. Firstly, thank you for joining us on this episode of Ambition Explored.
My pleasure.
So tell me a little bit about App Annie.
So App Annie was started by a Frenchman in Beijing, and the idea of the company was to provide organisations with a 360-degree view of what was happening in the mobile app economy, to provide them with the ability to make better decisions and maximise the experience their customers have on mobile. Yeah, so we help organisations from Lego to Lloyd's, from American Airlines to United Airlines, organisations that are leading the way in mobile.
I see, Natalie, but your expertise is in finance. So how did you find yourself moving into the mobile app data industry?
Yes, I've always worked in the data side, working with disruptive tech, changing the way businesses consume data either internally or externally. And I think mobile is the most disruptive tech of them all. We think
definitely.
back 10 years ago and the difference our lives had on Blackberries or even rubbish old phones, and now how we consume information, how we consume media, how we consume entertainment has completely changed. And I think part of the excitement about App Annie is helping organisations really understand that economy and how to be the best in the business, delivering their customers the most unique experience on mobile.
I see, you can do everything on mobile apps these days, from booking your lunch to booking your flights.
Absolutely.
You mentioned quite a lot of things that App Annie does. So what does your week typically look like?
Oh, it ranges from helping finance customers, like the banks, try and maximise their customer experience, right through to helping venture capital funds identify fast-growing apps within the app economy globally to invest in. Just like Level 39 here has built a group of startups, so too is the VC community looking at where the next unicorn is coming from.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of them use our data to be able to help them identify that.
So you still work in finance. You would have heard of Revolut, who started in Level 39 and now they're a unicorn. They're known for constantly adding new features to their apps. So how important is that to creating the best customer experience?
Yeah, and I'm a firm customer of Revolut myself, so know it really well. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the number one important thing to do when thinking about features in mobile is make the features valuable to the customers. It's not, no longer is it necessary to cram as many features and functionalities into a single app as possible.
I see. So one app can be the best and the rest don't necessarily have to follow. They can create their own agendas.
Customer expectations are so high now about the user interface and the experience that you're getting from apps, and I think that they're just not willing to put up with apps that don't meet those high ideals anymore. But now, with the advent of these unicorns, as we mentioned before, really setting the pace, that all apps now are judged at that level. So consumers are deleting apps that they don't think the user experience is of that high grade.
And is novelty important? Is that something important to grab attention?
Absolutely, and I think when we look at the global games industry on mobile, we got 60%. We expect 60% of the mobile revenue for the total gaming to come from mobile now, and of course that's what they live on. They novelty, the new experience, the new way of engaging consumers, and what we see is a lot of that experience coming from gaming is moving into other apps. The gamification of the finance apps, the gamification of the social apps, and the health and fitness apps. They're getting inspiration from the gaming community and bringing that in because as consumers, we're engaging with that.
So in an increasingly social environment, how important do you think it is to have connectedness in apps?
Building a community within an app is increasingly important, and we see that happening across lots of different industries, whether it's in games and lifestyle and health and fitness, or within social, built upon an existing social network as opposed to apps going and trying to build their own social network, building the functionality of an app within a social network in the most appropriate time for the most appropriate functionality.
So people are valuing interactions and in different ways in apps, not just being able to speak to their peers.
Well, I think it needs to validate a use case that consumers think is important. You know, the ability to send a social message when you're sending a payment to a friend is a long validated process within apps, and that serves a real purpose. Creating a full community within some app is important. In others, it might be a limited one. And I think what we see is being able to build out an understanding of where social and community is appropriate and valued by consumers and where it isn't. And I think looking at best in class, getting quantitative data points to help validate those decisions on a roadmap is really important when you're building an app and launching an app in new markets.
So is peer-to-peer messaging within apps more important than other interactional features?
Well, I think there is elements where peer-to-peer messaging might be the most appropriate when you're doing
like in finance,
a payment app, when you're sending payments and you want to send emojis with it, and you want to maybe send a photo along with, you know, having
I'd love to send a photo
out.
with you owe me for that pizza.
But you know, it is appropriate in the right circumstances. Is that the right feature for your community, for your consumers within your right market? And having that understanding will guide the roadmap, as opposed to just throwing in features and functionalities where it might not be appropriate.
So we saw what Pokemon did. What's going to be the next big AR game? Because I know I want to be involved in that.
Yeah, so I mean, this year Niantic are launching the Harry Potter game. We're expecting it to.
Are you a fan?
My 8-year-old daughter definitely is a fan, so I would imagine I'll be out on the street playing that extensively. Our prediction for the Harry Potter game is it's going to take approximately 100 million in the first 30 days.
Wow.
It's going to be another blockbuster hit.
But what about AR not just being used for gaming? Can it be used in the medical or for military use cases?
So we're seeing, the medical field, the military, the government, the NGOs using AR in apps more and more. I think what we really see is the wider use cases coming, this year, next year, when more mainstream apps start embedding AR for shopping, for retail, for different kind of use cases outside of the gaming ones we see really strongly established at the moment.
And what about education? Do you see AR playing a part in that?
Yeah, so I mean, even my daughter's using apps where they're inside a museum. They don't need to go and travel to Rome. They can see inside a museum, within their classroom.
So you've named a couple of things that might be happening in the future, but what are your top predictions for apps in 2019?
Yeah, so we see our prediction for global spend, consumer spend in the app stores globally to reach over 122 billion. That's twice the size of the global box office. One of the other predictions we have is when you look at the total time spent globally consuming media, 10 minutes of every hour is going to be spent streaming video on mobile. And
what about your predictions for gaming?
Yeah, so what we see, and we've seen over the last few years, is this massive move from gamers moving as their primary tool on mobile. In fact, 60% of all gaming revenue is going to come through mobile.
Are consoles dying?
Definitely not. Definitely not, and we see that, but we see the growth rates lot higher within mobile, and we see, these big blockbuster games who have traditionally started on console will bring out or even move directly to a mobile offering. Mobile has now overtaken both console and PC combined with the spend and the total times people are spending on mobile games.
Over recent years, we've seen several apps dominate the market. What are some tips for an app to be successful?
Well, I think the number one thing is how do you get seen Yeah, how do you, and I think it goes back to really making sure your ASO strategy is very, very strong.
Because it's an oversaturated market.
There's millions and millions of apps in the App Store with hundreds of thousands of them being launched all the time. And so how do you make your app stand out? And one of the things that I think is overlooked within the app strategy is actually getting your organic search done properly. It's a free tool. It's free to try and optimize the way that consumers find you within the app stores. And it is continually the most dominant way people uncover new apps is searching in the app stores. So we have to make sure that whenever there's a strategy to build a new app, that alongside that comes a really strong ASO strategy.
So you're able to tell me about any product releases or innovations that App Annie have planned in the future?
Yeah, so really excitingly, we've just launched our Labs feature where we're actually showing our next generation products directly to our customers now, to making sure that they provide us with the feedback of what's really important on our roadmap. And one of those things is moving beyond mobile apps, is looking at the mobile experience as a whole with mobile web.
Thank you, Natalie. Those were some really interesting insights. Now let's wind down with a couple of fun questions. Being an app expert, what are the top 3 apps you use and why?
Well, I think it changes where you are. I think I've just returned back from holidays, so obviously Revolut, WhatsApp, communicate with my family in New Zealand, and then I'm an expert in mobile games for 8-year-olds. So anything you need to know about mobile games for 8-year-olds, I'm your woman.
If you could pick up any skill in an instant, like this, what would it be?
I love to travel, so be able to walk out of an airport speaking the language would be a fantastic.
So Natalie, what is something that you want to do in the next year that you've never done before?
On a professional level, I think continuing to work with the VC and the app economy here in the UK and across Europe to drive those unicorns. We want to see startups being the next Revolut, being the next Skype. We want to see those the next Rovio, and I'm excited to be part of this community that helps startups become the best that they can be.
So Natalie, thank you for your time today.
Thank
and
you.
for sharing some great insights into how apps work and the exciting things that you have planned.